Hi everyone, this is Jesse with farmingseattle.com. Today I was going to do something a little different from gardening, but kind of in the same realm if you grew apples at your house. But I'm going to talk about brewing hard cider from apple juice. Right here is kind of the last stages of fermenting the apple juice. I have a 6-gallon container, has the apple juice in there, a rubber stopper on top with a airlock on there, and that just prevents any air from going back down into that container. And I put it in this water jug just so that it can cool down, because I don't have a big or a lot amount of ice to cool this sucker down. So this is cooling down the fermented apple juice so that I can bottle it or put it in a keg. So to get started, you can go to Costco and get a 2-pack of this apple juice. Basically it's all natural, it's not from concentrate, and as long as there's not too many chemicals down here, then it'll be just perfect. I think this just says apple juice. Obviously this is refilled with water. And you need some sort of yeast. I've used champagne yeast, which seems to work very good. This time I have 10 things of this Red Star Premier Blanc yeast, which is used in champagne. And you can get that off Amazon. So basically, when you start out, if you're doing it the same way that I am, either you have a container like this, so I got 6 of them, I dumped them all into this clean 6-gallon container, I popped on this airlock with the rubber stopper, but I put in the yeast, and once you do that, you put in some water to this fill line so that the CO2 can go up in here and it'll bubble and it'll kind of bounce, and it doesn't allow any air to go back in. But if you notice, after about a week or so, this cider will get really cloudy. It'll bubble a lot. You can probably see a little bit of bubbles right there. So this stuff is towards the end. It's cleared out. It kind of looks more like a beer, it's kind of see-through. Once it clears out and it stops bubbling as much, that's when it's done. And at that point, you're going to want to chill it. Put it in the fridge, cool it down with ice or something, and that'll kind of kill the yeast or slow down the yeast so that they'll stop and go to the bottom. From there, I need to put it into the keg. There's the keg. I have this big siphon you can get off Amazon. It kind of just auto siphons everything and can put it into our keg for us. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Well, let me get it set up and I'll do another video. Okay, so I have the bottle up on a higher elevation than the keg, and I'm going to try and show the bottom right there. That is all the yeast that we want to try and not get into this container. So I'm just going to see if I can pump this. Alright, so it's pumping and putting cider into our keg. And I'm just kind of holding it a little bit above this bottle. So it's nice to have an auto siphon like this that it'll automatically drain into your container. So once I fill this keg up, it's probably about 5 gallons. I'm going to try and fill it up to pretty much the very top. And from there, I'm going to have to carbonate it. So if you do the keg or do the cider in a bottle, you can put in sugar and then cap the glass bottle, and that'll force the yeast to carbonate the drink. But it kind of does a lot of has a lot of yeast still in there, so it probably does a off taste a little bit. But this is my first try with CO2, and I have a regulator to regulate the pressure of the CO2 that's going to go into the keg. So we'll see how that works. But I'll let this drain and get this going, and I'll kind of show you the finished product, and maybe I can figure out the CO2 carbonation. Okay, so about halfway there, I thought I'd talk about why I brew cider. I like cider a lot, and usually from the store or something, you get cider that is very sugary. The way that this is brewed, once it stops bubbling, you know that the sugar is gone, and so the leftovers is something that is very dry, which is preferable to me. So not a lot of sugar, tastes good, and a lot cheaper, I guess, too. You can buy those Apple Juice containers. I think they're $7 a piece. Typically a packet of yeast is around $1. So if you wanted to, you can brew in these gallon containers. I just drilled a hole in the top of that container, but a number 10 might actually fit perfectly. So if you got yeast, you got the juice, you got a number 10 stopper plus an airlock, you're probably looking at maybe $20 to start brewing your own apple juice. And so a gallon takes about a week, and you can actually put that in the fridge, just cap it with a regular cap and start another batch, and that'll kind of carbonate in that container. And as long as you siphon out some, it tastes actually really good and pretty inexpensive. And we're getting there with the cider. It takes a lot longer than I thought, and hopefully it's kind of windy out here, so hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully stuff isn't falling into the batch. But I'll follow up pretty shortly with the rest of the gear. Okay, and the last part of the video is the CO2 tank is connected to a regulator. It regulates how much PSI, or how much pressure, can go into the keg. And one of these posts is for gas, and the other's the liquid that comes out. So there's a table online that'll show you basically at what temperature, what kind of beer or cider you're making, and in turn what pressure you should be using. And you just want to make sure that these lines aren't leaking so you don't run out of CO2, and just that it'll sit there for a week or two and carbonate, and then you'll have finished product. So thanks for watching. I'll do another video another day. You can click on here for the next video in the series, or a video that you might like, or you can subscribe on the other box. Thanks for watching.